Lucky NFL Week 7 is upon us, and it's going to be a fun one today, guys. 31 implied points for the Commanders, and a couple fun games. Of course, people are going to be targeting a lot more. Of course, we're going to do what we always do here. We're going to look at the projections and the ownership from Stochastic. We're going to also look at some ETR projections and optimize some lineups via the solver. We're going to build some sim lineups as well via Stochastic, and we're going to look at all the QB stacks going one by one here for the main slate. It's the final takes for Week 7. Let's get into it, guys. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate you guys being here. It is, in fact, I don't say my age because, look, a man doesn't tell his age. My 40th birthday today, guys. So appreciate you guys being here with me. Shout out to the chat as well. Appreciate you guys being here bright and early. But how could I not be good luck on the day where the midlife crisis kicks in? But really, I think it feels like kismet to me, especially even my lineups today. I'm putting 10 in the Millie Maker, 20 in the play action. 10-20 is my birthday. It's also Kenneth Walker's birthday. It's also rest in peace, Razor Ramon's birthday, Mickey Mantle, Snoop Dogg. There might be some others out there that I don't know yet, but it's a big day here, so let's make it worth it here. Happy 40th. Yeah, thanks. Let's never acknowledge that I'm 40 again moving forward. Let's pretend I'm in the same, early 30s-ish age I look. What a young, youthful parent you are. That's what we see. Projections, though, same stuff we saw for the most part on Friday. Let me filter down just to the main slate. We got Jaden Daniels. I appreciate that, guys. Thank you very much. Of course, I'm not a big birthday celebrator. Back then, I used to go on vacation. But now it's the middle of football season, so we just do the work here. And I hope that my birthday and losing multiple pets within the last few weeks, I hope that all brings me good luck. And by proxy, you guys get good luck as well. I think you're a fucking idiot. It's not the fucking one I want to hear, but I don't agree, and we'll talk more about it as we go. Not to be mean to Brian right away, but what a fucking dumbass. No, that's the game to me I think is good chalk. I think, but we'll talk about it. Jaden Daniels, the good chalk of the day, 25.4 implied points. Some people out there, the JM Twins of the world, I saw in Pete's video on Friday, poking holes in the Jaden Daniels play. To me, you're talking about the highest implied total. You're talking about a player coming off a loss that the team I think took pretty hard, as I mentioned a few times throughout content this week. You're talking about a player as well that has a ceiling that nobody else in the league has, I believe, in terms of the rushing upside, the passing upside, and the fact that he's, again, put up legitimately 60 fantasy point days in college. Jaden Daniels, I think the hope is that today is the day it all comes together. If he busts his chalk, if a 1/5 field plays him, I don't think he'll bust, to be clear. I think worst case scenario is giving you high teens, low 20s, which at that price tag would be tough, but wouldn't kill your lineup if you did have stacks of created value with it. For Jaden, though, the big risk point is that he's so expensive. Other players certainly can beat him out at QB, so that's the trade-off. But if you're worried about him busting, I think if you're a buffoon like this guy Brian strutting in and saying my favorite team and then my favorite defense to attack are somehow bad chalk, I would say don't worry about that part. I think you're going to have okay production here no matter what. But it's tournaments. So tournaments, you have the chalk game, apparently going to be Washington, Carolina. So if it doesn't go off quite as well, if Minnesota goes off, let's say if Detroit goes off, Houston goes off, Green Bay goes off, somehow Chiefs and Niners go off, those are the games that win you tournaments. So that's the trade-off of it. It's going to be an obvious spot that everybody sees coming because, again, it's one of the highest totals of the year. So can't be more clear about that. Justin Jefferson, number 2, highest projected skill position player of the week at 21.5. You can see here a 4-point discrepancy between him and Justin Jefferson, Jaden Daniels, that is, and Justin Jefferson. So pretty big disparity there that should lead to people playing Jaden Daniels a little bit more in some of the core lineups. Kyron Williams, your top directed RB of the week. He and Justin Jefferson, I think, be two of the priced up plays people go to the most here. Kyron in a matchup against Vegas, people are not afraid of. Rams usage has been really good for him lately. And Cooper Kupp, it looks like not playing again. So we'll see. Kyron Williams continue to get the same work. He won't be more efficient as a result of having Kupp out there, taking some pressure off him, but should continue to get the great goal line work. In particular, getting about 6 red zone attended touches a game, which is one of the best roles in the football right now. Geno Smith, the game versus Atlanta, your top value QB of the week. Certainly a player that'll be coming up a lot in these stochastic sims, I'm sure. And Sam Darnold, your number 5 overall projected player. That totals for Minnesota and Detroit have been coming up a little bit throughout the week. I think Minnesota in particular has seen it go up where they were previously, I believe, a slight dog at home. Now I believe they're the favorite as of this morning. Let me make sure that's correct because I pulled my data in right before the stream. The kid's watching Cars 2 upstairs and fucking complaining about it way more than he should. He doesn't like the scenes where they're in Italy racing. And it's like, if you like cars, I feel like you should like the scene where they're doing a race through our native land of Italy. Minnesota now 1-point favorite. I think weren't they 1.5-point dogs? That's a pretty big flip that I'm surprised to see. Double stacking other games going to outperform your Washington, Carolina skinny stacks. What the fuck do I know? Hey, look, that's the right way to view it. But again, double stacking, if you hit a true ceiling, same thing would apply for Washington, Carolina. Still think McLaurin, Deontay Johnson, Jaden Daniels is a base for me. Work off of that game and obviously adding more on that. I think Noah Brown has a good shot to go off today. Zach Ertz, fine. Chuba Hubbard going to be chalky. That's sort of how I try to build it. But I agree that it's a game stack Washington, Carolina, and I think you can do that, but we'll see what we get when we look at the lineups. Let's go position by position with the top projected players just to fully cement things where the slate is as of right now, 9:02 a.m. on the East Coast. Jaden Daniels, again, your top projected QB by about 6 points, so he'll come up a lot. The salary, though, you have two cheap guys behind him, so I imagine that actually the optimizers will push us more towards Geno and Sam Darnold. See in a moment, though. These guys have pretty good projections, much lower salaries, and theoretically the ceiling should be similar to a Jaden Daniels based on how the projections will view it. So would think that despite Jaden Daniels being so highly projected, we'll get more Geno, more Sam Darnold. Jalen Hurts at number 4, game against the Giants with one of the lower totals of the week. Still one, though, we know the upside should be there. Giants also play a lot of man defense, so if Hurts were to hit, A.J. Brown coming with him wouldn't be the biggest shocker. Patrick Mahomes at number 5 here. Again, not the biggest fan of that one overall. The Hoosiers are 7-0. Good for that. All right. I personally, I'm wearing my loser college. Fucking USC cannot find ways to avoid giving games away in the fourth quarter. So I'm glad somebody's college team is doing well. Mine is not. And shouts to the chat too. Appreciate some newer names or some names that you don't see quite as often. Our guy Nate, guy Smitch here. Thank you for that. Yes, a joyous birthday here as always. Kyron Williams, your number 1 projected RB, as we talked about. Bijan number 2 again. The price tags come up for him, so he probably won't come up in every lineup like he did last week. Aaron Jones at number 3, coming off the injury. I do think he'll probably be a little bit underowned for the fact that people do, I'm sure, going to worry more about Aaron Jones' injury than they probably should. The matchup, though, looks good. He's probably my favorite play in that game relative to salary. Justin Jefferson, though, another great play on the Minnesota side, obviously. Saquon Barkley at number 4. I think he gets jammed in a little bit more than you would want to see relative to the projection here and that salary. You can see only a 2.1x value, much lower than these other guys in that range. But Saquon picking up a little more ownership because of the revenge game and because the public loves Saquon, I think would be the thing that would not surprise me here today. Brian Robinson at number 5 here, a 2.7 projection for him. So 2.7x value, rather, projection for him. Another strong play. Another play you could go to as leverage against Chuba Hubbard, who's likely going to be the chalk of the week. Your top receivers as of right now. Justin Jefferson, we talked about Amon-Ra St. Brown in that same game. A pay up to be contrarian, maybe double stack there or stack with a bring back, guess depending what QB you go with. With Jefferson and Amon-Ra, would probably want to play the QB with one of those guys if you're going to do that, I would think, because we're trying to tap into a true ceiling game for both sides. But both guys certainly in play, and I would think probably get jammed in together a little bit more than they probably should relative to Amon-Ra's projection at the very least at 8,300. Drake London going to be a chalk play this week. Too cheap for that salary. Basically for Drake London, good spot against Seattle. Should be a game that's high scoring as well and one that probably goes, I wouldn't say underappreciated, but I think people are flocking to this based on what I've seen people talking about. I feel like a lot of the content creators out there, a lot of the websites, the Fantasy Life newsletters, going to push you towards Detroit, Minnesota, going to push you towards Houston, Green Bay as like these are the brilliant stacks of the week. Atlanta, Seattle is one where, much like Washington, Carolina, on its face, it looks like a high-scoring game. I think people might overthink it, but in reality, I think it's more likely that Atlanta, Seattle puts up a lot of points than even Houston, Green Bay. I mean, I don't want to speak too well of the other games because obviously any of them could go off. But like, let's say compared to Niners, Niners Chiefs, I'd rather have Atlanta, Seattle being my game stack a lot more personally, but that's obviously a personal choice thing. Jamar Chase at number 4, a game here against Cleveland where you don't expect Cincinnati to be putting the pedal to the metal too much. Jamar Chase did his biggest games for the most part when Cincinnati's in really competitive, high scoring spots. Cleveland, you would need the Deshaun Watson thing for him to get there. Deshaun, as we talked about, buying while there's blood in the streets of Deshaun Watson has probably been the best move in terms of DFS the last few weeks. The bad news is that he's just not good enough at QB to come through, but he's low owned. Theoretically, he could also make Jamar Chase go. So Watson sacks with Chase if you're playing 150 or you really want to get aggressive in a 20 max. Maybe not the craziest thing in the world. Malik Neighbors, pretty good value on him, but not the best value relative to guys like Drake London and Justin Jefferson here, but he's your top 5 receiver, a little bit ahead of Stephon Diggs. And last but not least, our tight ends. Got Brock Bowers, number 1, my favorite tight end play of the week. The price tag's getting a little bit tough. He and Travis Kelce, I think, clearly a cut above everybody else. Brock Bowers, I've talked about for weeks. I expect him to be basically the wide receiver 1 for Vegas moving forward. He dominated in first read targets last week, according to fantasy points data. So for me, for Brock Bowers, good matchup, good player. Price tag works, so we'll see what the ownership is. Kelsey, a little bit more expensive, a little bit less projection, so probably comes up a bit less than an optimizer, but still a strong play. He benefits from not having Rashee Rice out there primarily. Juju Smith-Schuster also banged up, but he's going to go in the game, so doesn't give a direct boost to Kelsey, but him being hurt, he makes Kelsey a little bit more viable as well. George Kittle's been, I think, performing over his head a little bit. The value's not there this week. Certainly a fine enough tournament play versus KC, but I think Debo maybe more seeing as a tournament play. Ayuk certainly going to have the least ownership of that group. Kittle, I think, isn't sneaking up on anybody with the box scores he's had lately. If I had to guess, he still picks up a decent amount of ownership because people just look at that and go, he's hitting every week. In reality, he's not likely to hit every week moving forward. Colby Parkinson, another top value play, definitely looks a little bit better with Cooper Kupp not going. Should theoretically be less efficient, but have more volume. And David Njoku coming back in, highest target per out run rate of all the Browns receivers left. Jerry Jeudy should be the wide receiver one there, but it's possible that Njoku gets fed the most. I know people are going to like him. If I had to guess, Njoku gets pretty chalky based on what I've seen in the content space this week. That's your tight ends. And defenses we'll spend 1 second on. Defenses, Bills, Eagles, Commanders, Dolphins, Bengals are your top 5. None of which I feel like particularly excite me. Mason Rudolph fucking up a lot. I don't really see being the case. He's the exact opposite of Will Levis. He's kind of the panacea, the remedy they're looking for what's been going wrong for them. He's also barely going to throw it. He's going to drop back. If he does drop back, he's not going to really take pressure. He's going to get rid of the ball. So Bills D being potentially a chalk defense of the week. I'm not there without Levis as the QB. Eagles against Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones has been pretty good. Don't mind that. Commanders, you're getting leverage on the Carolina game. Dolphins, you're going against AR, who's been mistake prone. Get that. And Bengals, you're going against Deshaun, who's also very mistake prone. Certainly get that. Let's go to actually real fast. And then your top overall values, we basically have covered it, but just for the sake of completionism, because I do get OCD about showing you guys everything if I can. Top value, Geno Smith, Jaden Daniels, despite that high salary, Daniel Jones, Sam Darnold, Deshaun Watson. So not one of those cheap receivers coming up pretty easily. Your best position or skill position value is Brock Bowers. Besides that, Colby Parkinson, and then Bills D. So no 3K receiver, guys. Nobody really taking a big bump upwards that you're going to see coming up here in the ownership. But let's look at the ownership. Let's go over here. Check the chat real fast. Shout out, my guy, El Negro Loco. Appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Happy 40th birthday. Who's somebody else's birthday too? Yes, I am indeed. But thank you guys. Appreciate all the chats. I hope I win a big one today too. I think that's the birthday gift I deserve. But seeing my pal Negro Loco here, I'll take that as a consolation prize. Ownership projection from Stochastic Force. Get all that data. Link in the description. 15% off. And it does support the show directly, so please do that as well. Chuba Hubbard, your chalk player of the week. That's why he's on the thumbnail today. 27% ownership. Hard to argue with Chuba with how he's been playing the last few weeks. The matchup against Carolina as well. Rumors out there, which I thought was funny. It was like, Cooper Kupp might be up for a trade. Garrett Wilson teams are inquiring about his trade. And then there was one report from Underdog NFL's handle where it's like, Miles Sanders might be up for a trade. And it was like, we got all the good guys who might be up for a trade out. And here's the one that nobody gives a shit about. But apparently they're shopping Miles Sanders. So maybe you see a little bit more Chuba Hubbard work this week. Obviously, Jonathan Brooks coming back at some point as well is probably the main reason they're willing to shop Miles Sanders. And somebody out there might need an RB enough, I guess, to take a flyer on Sanders, who's been basically the same mediocre players he's been forever. But Chuba on the year, 2.8 intended red zone touches a game, 1.8 inside the 10-yard line, 4 targets, 18.3 intended touches overall. He's been a really efficient runner, 0.09 EPA per rush, one of the better marks of the league for a volume back. Less efficient in the pass game, negative 0.26 EPA per target. Basically the same as Miles Sanders on the year. But the matchup against Washington's so good. Chuba Hubbard, I think, is one of those players to me where I get why the salary works. He's had pretty good upside. I think he gives you probably worst case 15, projection wise, we're talking, I think most likely getting you 18 to 22 in that range in terms of where his outcomes land. So Chuba's chalk, I get it. For a tournament, he can get beaten out. If you're going to talk about the bad chalk or the riskier chalk in that game, I think Chuba's potentially riskier chalk because I think they're going to go through the air a little bit more. And my assumption is that Deontay Johnson not as banged up as it seems. But Chuba, there's ways to lever against him. So he's your chalk player of the week at everything, but especially at RB. Drake London at number 2, tied with Colby Parkinson at number 3. Again, Colby Parkinson to me feels more like a projection play than a ceiling play. But Drake London, I do like a good amount here. The price tag's a little bit too low. He and Darnell Mooney, the roles have started to kind of separate where London's getting more red zone work. London's getting more high value targets. Mooney's still getting shots downfield and a little bit less volume overall. Drake London, I like as a play. Thinking the matchup against Seattle, though, you could target Mooney. You could target Ray to a lesser extent. I think Pitts is pretty viable in that matchup as well. So if you want to get away from London, and obviously the RBs, there's a lot of ways to get that production. PPR points wise, though, I think Drake London will be perfectly fine. Colby Parkinson, again, same thing here. Like a projection play, doesn't have the best ceiling in the world. Kyron could smash the ceiling here going against Vegas. Vegas, a team that is not that good overall, even though I expect them to feed Brock Bowers fairly well today. Rams in an efficient defense, so Vegas moving the ball a little bit, basically giving room for Kyron Williams to rack up PPR points and get his way downfield where he gets all the goal line work. I think is what I expect for Kyron. Tough price tag for him, but Kyron, I think, better chalk than Chuba Hubbard at RB if you can afford it. Bijan at number 5. Feel like Bijan having the Tyler Algier crush of work coming for them. They basically have the same red zone role. When they're chalk situations for Bijan, I don't quite want to be there as much. Last week, obviously, he had the great game, but it took 2 touchdowns getting there. I think there's more risk to Bijan than it always seems. And for me, him being the number 5th overall owned player, I'd probably rather have a little bit less, but being with the field at 20%, Bijan's fine. Jaden, not too far off there at 18%, or actually, no, 19.6%, sorry. Almost 20% ownership for Jaden. So if you want to fade him, that's the reason why. The downside would be if Jaden does hit his ceiling game of games here, which I still think, again, very much in the range of outcomes, Carolina's going to push enough on their side. Carolina can't defend. Washington should probably be the most efficient version of their offense we've seen all year and hopefully be more aggressive, learning what they did last week in Baltimore, where they just weren't aggressive enough early in that game. I think this is the spot where people will see that 20% ownership for Jaden. They'll go, there's no way he pays that off. In reality, I think if you don't play Jaden with the field today, I think you could end up in a spot where you end up just watching Jaden Linus put up 45 at QB, let's say 20-ish with McLaurin. Maybe one of the RBs gets you 20-ish. Like, I think you see the stack hit to a certain amount. The Jaden part's the one I'd be worried about the most, though. Like, I think you don't play chalk Jaden and he puts up 40 on you and has his first, massive outlier day. That's the hope. But if you look at Jaden's performance here, like, I get the logic for why people would go, he's like a 20 to 25 point player. He's not pushing it that hard. Just know that there's more of a ceiling there. And I do believe, again, personally, this is a personal bias thing, but it's also like looking at the slate, looking at the dynamics of it, looking at the fact that Washington has the highest implied total of the entire year. I do think despite that, Jaden Daniels, 20% ownership feels fair, and I think you should be with the field on it. I'll defend it. Lower owned guys down here. Got T. Higgins under 10%. Kenneth Walker, his birthday, downgraded due to illness, coincidentally, the day before his birthday. But it is his birthday today, so maybe that matters a little bit. Again, he's been more of a check down king than people realize. Taking a lot of that third down work that people think just goes to Zach Charbonnet. In reality, it's been a pretty good amount for Kenneth Walker as well. The spam coming through on my birthday. Let's get that out of here. I do appreciate, though, it's never porn spam for you guys. I just want you to watch NFL games. So they know, no perverts here. We're just about the business here, the business of football. Trey Tucker, people like him, I certainly don't quite as much. I think DJ Turner's shown a little bit more deep ball upside, but Trey Tucker, if you like him, he's 4,200, a little bit cheaper. Juju coming off the big game last week, 4K salary for him, or last time out. 4K salary for him, he played a decent amount of 10%. Kareem Hunt, Darnell Mooney, Kyle Pitts, who again, I do think is pretty good leverage against old Drake London. DK Metcalf, love this match for him against Atlanta. Atlanta cannot defend anything. DK Metcalf gets the best work in that entire wide receiver core. Debo, upside against KC, getting unique touches in a game where it's going to be tougher to score points. Those are the kind of games where I think Debo has the most upside. Don't mind him. Kittle, I think, is a little bit higher than 8%. That's that. Pornbots for members only streams. Well, they're not members, so that's they unfortunately don't pay me money. I wish all the pornbots paid me money, though. Then, I mean, they have the most money to give, and they give the least. You hate to see it. Jerry Jeudy, Amon-Ra, Addison, lots of viable players in the 10%. So you want to get low owned. Stephon Diggs, another one if you like that Houston stack. That's basically it. Brian, shut up. Again, if you don't know the player, don't talk about him. If you don't understand the player who put up, again, 60 fucking fantasy points last year in games, Brian, I can't be more fucking clear about it. Oh, gosh. Fuck it. It's always people, too, like, who are never in the chat, and, like, you have the most opinions that are incorrect. It's not surprising. Anyway, those are your low-owned guys. Let's go to fucking solvers. Brian tilts me on my goddamn. Brian's going to be running a lap soon. You can disagree, but just don't be stupid. Just because a 40-point game hasn't happened yet doesn't mean they don't exist. It does mean that they exist. They occur. In fact, occur frequently. All right. 25 lineups here. Let's take off our settings. So we're going to get the pure projection math here. And the goal of this is not necessarily, please put, oh, you know what? You know what, Brian? I don't really give a shit about your opinion. Got to be honest here. And Eddie asked for it, and I like Eddie more. So, Eddie, you win. Brian, run a lap. It's like the people last year, and I won't call them out by name because, I mean, they know who they are. People who are like, there's no way a rookie tight end can ever finish top in the league. And what happens? Again, one of them does, in fact, is most important player. Sometimes when you just go through the prism of this hasn't occurred this year, you're one of the dumbest people around. And I'm not saying that Brian's one of the dumbest people around, but he's not like filling me with joy. So that's that. All right, we reset our settings here. Let's run 25. Nobody's scored 40 in the NFL this year in the 6 weeks of the season. It could never happen. Remember that fucking 4 weeks ago, people thought that the NFL was ruined and no team would ever score points again. And now this week we have 3 games over a 50-point total. That's how that works. He's likely going to play. It seems like just a conservative thing to put him on illness. All right, so your top ROI or your top lineups right now, not ROI, according to the projection. So basically, if you're going to play a cash game, as of right now, 9:17 a.m., you got Jaden Daniels, Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Drake London, Jordan Whittington, Trey Tucker, Colby Parkinson, and Chuba Hubbard, along with the Bengals D. So there's no variance on this one, just ETR projections up here. So basically, you're getting 2 Rams in your cash game build. No Cooper Kupp makes Jordan Whittington make a little bit more sense than he did on Friday. Besides that, though, I don't mind Drake. I don't mind Drake London. I don't mind Aaron Jones. I don't mind Tony Pollard. Again, going to be less mistakes with Mason Rudolph on the field as the QB for Tennessee. So them getting the ball in position for Tony Pollard to take advantage of the fact no Tyjae Spears out there. That makes sense to me. Whittington, Parkinson, Trey Tucker, I feel the least good about in these lineups, but that's a me thing. Might not be a you thing. Right now, though, according to the solver, you're getting 100% Parkinson in lineups. So they think that he is the play of plays basically relative to the math. So people are probably playing a little more Colby Parkinson than they should. We saw in Stochastic as well. They have Colby Parkinson projected for about 20% ownership. So it seems like your chalk play of the week is Parkinson. Let me see if I can poke some holes in Parkinson a little bit. So the matchup, it's a high implied total for the Rams. 25.3 implied points for the Rams is a good amount. Matchup wise, the Raiders defense not shutting down tight end too well. A 0.4 EPA would be towards the higher end of the league. Per target allowed to tight ends, 9.4% rate to tight ends is a little bit low. So maybe that's where Parkinson gets less volume. It's like an okay matchup. I just think Parkinson, like 6.4 targets per game, 5.9 air yards per attempt. That's like just a middling tight end role where, I don't know. Him getting you 10 doesn't shock me, but him getting you the 15 to 20 you probably need to win a tournament would shock me. So moving away from Parkinson, I think would be the move for me. Will AR get 39? He's capable of it. Again, a lot of QBs in the league are capable of 40 fantasy points. It's not, if they run, it's really not the craziest math in the world if you understand how DFS works. Chalk Pollard, is Julius 3 snaps Chestnut the new Sean Tucker? I wouldn't think so. Pollard has had a reliable workload even when Tyjae Spears in. So it's kind of the flip situation of Washington, where for Washington, it's like they had a role to give guys like Jerry Nichols when Austin Eckler's been out, when Brian Robinson's been out. There's just an opportunity to give somebody a role there. Whereas for Tony Pollard, he's basically come for Tyjae Spears' work immediately. So maybe Chestnut gets to a fractional amount of what Tyjae was getting. So we're talking, under 10 touches, but the goal line work will all go Pollard's way because he was icing a better back anyway for that. What else to note here? Game stacks. 56% of these lineups, you're getting Jaden Daniels and Chuba Hubbard together. 36% you're getting Trey Tucker and Colby Parkinson. So that is like your projection game stack is Tucker and Parkinson. Neither player I love. Fine enough, but neither player I love. And player stack wise, a fifth of the time you're getting Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. 12% of the time you're getting Whittington and Parkinson. And then 12% of the time you're getting Parkinson and Rams. Nothing else matters that much here. We got 23 minutes left. We'll run a quick sim of the solver. Let me build 250 lineups here. And put in my settings as well. Give a boost to stacks. We're not forcing stacks to these settings, but we are giving them a boost. We'll sim them out here via the solver. And guys, if you appreciate this content, I will say the one thing for me that you don't get on other channels is, number one, I'm a promoter for multiple products. So I just get to talk about them honestly and earnestly about what a process is to try to build good lineups in DFS. So if you enjoy this content, guys, again, it is my birthday too. If that helps put you over the hill too, subscribe down below, hit the like button, leave a comment. Your engagements go a long way for me. A sole proprietor here is just trying to build up this channel, soon seemingly an NBA channel with the work I'll be doing with Stochastic and unabated this year for NBA. So I've got things brewing here, and I'll do my best to bring the same level of obsessive, compulsive level content for NBA as I do for NFL. And it's been a few years since I've done NBA reliably every single day. So it's going to be fun for here on the channel. Of course, football, you guys know, if you watch the channel here, I do it and prepare harder than anybody else on stream from January on. So that's the promise here on Splash Play. I'll show you real products. I'll do the work with you here and try to get better at it. And that's always the goal here. Of course, Stochastic, 15% off, like the description. It does support the show, so please, monthly memberships is great as well. Basically, the first 8 payments that they get from you, 50% of that money goes to me. So if you want to support the show, it's a great way to do it while getting yourself some of the best DFS products out there. And, of course, the Solver, the product I'm using on stream right now, which I, of course, forgot to set the variance on, so that's why it's moving so slow. But check out the Solver as well. Great optimizer tool if you like control over your lineups. That's what the Solver does best. Because basically what you're doing is you're optimizing lineups. So if I wanted to lock in Jaden Daniels stacks, I could do that, build those lineups, sim only those lineups. That's sort of the benefit of the Solver. So you want control, try the Solver. You want easy lineups kind of fed to you from some of the best players, some of the best processes in the world. Use Stochastic for 15% off. Link in the description down below. I'll check the chat while this rebuilds here. Thank you for the super chat here from our guy, Robert Ventura. Appreciate him, of course. They have Goddard in. I don't believe Goddard is in for anybody at this point because he's been ruled out for a few days. ETR/Stochastic is where you find out what the field is doing. Splash Play is where you find edges. There, I hope so. I hope so. I mean, the main thing that's different for me in those sites is like I can promote other products and I can talk about what the overall picture looks like more. Or so Stochastic, like those shows are, really well done infomercials for a Stochastic product. ETR is like a very well done infomercial for ETR products. So for me, I think I can approach this a little more candidly, and hopefully I do. Would I stack B-Rob with Jaden Terry? I would. That'll be one of the approaches I do today. Basically, what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to put 10 in the Millie Maker today because it's a little bit of a cheaper price tag, and that's what my bankroll is. Being responsible and managing it week to week is half the battle. So for me, basically, I got to be honest, Brian, I don't really care. I'm going to put you back in timeout. Like, Brian, you're not a character here on the show. I'm sorry. I just don't care enough. But let's simulate here these builds. What's the biggest tournament we can get it into? They do not have a Millie Maker once again. But they do have this big, the high dollar millionaire. So let's do that. Let's run these sims together. But yeah, anyway, Jaden to me. So my goal is going to be to build different looks with Jaden, where one Jaden McLaurin Ertz, probably one Jaden McLaurin Noah Brown, one Jaden McLaurin B-Rob, because I do believe, again, you guys like Brian, who I think is like fixated on it, he can believe whatever he wants. He can play whatever he wants. I strongly believe that the team with the highest implied total of the year in a spot coming off the game where they were really disappointed, their coach speak this entire week was how disappointed they were last week. I don't feel that great about fading that game. So that's, to me, it's more about how do I get this game and attack it uniquely. I think Noah Brown is the way to attack it uniquely, to be honest, but I worry a little bit about his upside. And it's hard for me to fully advocate for Noah Brown and a Jaden stack because of the fact that, like, it's a flimsy play relative to projections. But I personally believe that Noah Brown's like one of the potential skeleton keys of the slate based on the fact they want you to get cheap guys in. But we'll talk more about that as we go and look at some lineups. Walker downgrade just due to illness. Imagine he'll be fine. Yeah, it's always bad to see a late week downgrade, but I do assume he's okay. And it wouldn't be shocking if they downgraded him because it was his birthday and he knew he was going to go out. I don't know. We got top ROI lineups here. Jared Goff, a double stack of him is your number one ROI lineup according to the Solver right now. Goff with James Cook, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, still a double stack of Rams with it. Tutu Atwell, Colby Parkinson, Trey Tucker, Browns D. So getting leverage against the Bengals here. Tucker and Parkinson, despite being the optimizer chalk plays, they're coming in number one in the sim. So ETR loves Parkinson and loves Rams overall, it looks like. The number 2 lineup is also a Rams stack, which I don't know how this hits without Kyron personally, but Stafford, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard, Justin Jefferson, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Dalton Schultz, Alexander Madison, Bengals. So it almost kind of feels, I mean, this is definitely a Washington fade here, but it almost feels like leverage against the Washington game not going off with Chuba as the only play from it. That's basically that. I wouldn't worry about that quite as much. That's more of like that could be usage based for other players. That's like a noisy stat that you shouldn't really worry about. DVP stuff, never the best. Brock Purdy stack is your number 3 ROI. Purdy, Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison, Zamir White. I haven't seen an update on him, but he was trending towards going, right? So Madison's got a decent red zone role. I guess I get the idea of trying to get leverage on the Ram stack. I get what the solver's doing here, which is usually the case. The solver, I think, a very intelligent sim. But I think for Madison, really hard to feel good about that play if Samir White's in. Tank Dell, Brandon Ayuk, Juju Smith-Schuster, George Kittle, Travis Kelce. So you're basically game stacking Chiefs Niners here, which is going to be the lowest owned of the game stacks potentially out there today. Juju, the ETR is 22% ownership going his way. So seems like they're projecting him a little more aggressively than Stochastic is. You're also getting Browns D on top here. This lineup is really not one for me. Mahomes stack for the flip side here, according to the solver. Patrick Mahomes, Tony Pollard, Kyron Williams, Jordan Whittington, Trey Tucker, Juju, Kelce, Kittle, Bengals. So solver seems to like Rams, and solver seems to like Niners Chiefs stacks a little bit more than you would think. There's a cousin stack up top where you're fading Jaden, but still trying to get the Washington production, which I think if you are going to fade Jaden, I would try to do that. Kirk Cousins, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson, Drake London, Terry McLaurin, Jordan Whittington, Kyle Pitts, Colby Parkinson, Rams. So you have the Falcons alpha stack here. The downside is Mooney and Ray McLeod can certainly take some production away, but I do like this build going against Seattle. Seattle stack a little more obvious, so you're trying to get a little more unique here by playing the Cousins side of it. Here's a Darnold stack up top, and then we'll look at a Jaden one and over to Stochastic. Got Darnold, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard, Justin Jefferson, Terry McLaurin, Tutu Atwell, Colby Parkinson, DJ Turner. Again, DJ Turner, if you want that leverage on Trey Tucker. Again, I think Bowers is the best receiver there, but cheap leverage would be DJ Turner, who's getting more downfield targets, a little bit better usage. Turner so far this year, only a 12% target per out run rate, but he is getting 15.1 air yards per target, compared to 10.2 for Trey Tucker. 0.7 deep throws a game going to DJ Turner, as well as 0.7 going to Trey Tucker's way. Trey Tucker's a more solidified player in that rotation right now, but Turner, I think, and Tucker are basically the same play to me. Like if they hit, it's Gardner Minshew somehow getting lucky, and those guys hit, or not Gardner Minshew, but Aiden O'Connell hitting, and those guys getting lucky. I think they both kind of represent the same outcome. And here's a Jaden double. So here we go. This exact, wow. All right. Again, I don't love Parkinson. The rest of this build is exactly one I would want to play. Jaden Daniels, Kyron Williams, Chuba Hubbard, Terry McLaurin, Noah Brown, Deontay Johnson, David Njoku, Parkinson, Giants. This bottom part of the lineup falls apart for me a little bit here. I would like to find a way to get in Brock Bowers. I don't know how I would. But this top part of it, including Kyron, I think is all really strong plays here. Could swap Chuba or Kyron to a Washington RB. Could take Noah Brown off, but I think this is kind of going to be the base of what I try to work off today. So that's my final take for that game. Guys like Brian maybe don't do that in the chat, but hey, I'm not Brian. All right. Contest generator. Let's do it. The thing too is like a guy like Brian. Well, if let's say Jaden puts up 25 today, a guy like Brian will come in the chat and go like, "See, told you couldn't put up 40." Like, it doesn't matter if he doesn't literally put up 40. If he puts up 40, Brian's not going to come back and go like, "Oh, I guess he could put up 40." He will just go about his day and feel bad about himself in the back of his head. That's unfortunately how that goes. Swap out Parkinson for Jatavian. Hard to go with that with Chuba, with Deontay personally. Morning Spags and happy apparently B-Day. Yeah, no, it is. It's not apparent. This has been my birthday for a while. How would I know all the people that have my birthday if I were lying about it? Seems like a cold double sack day. Also, you go to my Twitter page. You can see the balloons floating today. Hey, real fast. You want to see the balloons on my Twitter? Here we go. Well, this is loading. Oh, look at these balloons. Look at his oh, my goodness. Here, one more time. It's the birthday boy getting his balloons. Well, the sim is working here. Of course, Stochastic going to build 10,000 lineups and have them play against each other 10,000 times. You're going to see that happen live in real time here on stream. 35% to first again, as it's been pretty much every week. Worth pointing out, too, which my pal Greg Ehrenberg did tweet out, and I think went semi-viral, saw it on my For You page decent amount. If you are a person who likes FanDuel or is just maybe tired of DraftKings, wants to try something different, FanDuel, it does seem, is doing a better job pricing their tournaments. Their NBA opening night one has got better ROIs basically across the board. First place, second place, whatever spot you're finishing in, basically, for their tournament compared to DraftKings. So might be worth putting some more FanDuel in your life if you want to. I've always been more of a DraftKings player, but it does seem like there's a little more EV going around on there if you want to be mindful of that. You want to see the balloons on my Twitter is not a sense I ever imagined hearing. Well, look, you got to fill the time. Sure, it is my birthday. I want to see you want to see my hey, check out these balloons right here. Mickey Mantle, that's right. I did say that. Mickey Mantle, Scott Hall, aka Razor Ramon. Those are the big ones. And now Kenneth Walker can add to the list. I'm looking at famous people born today, too. All right, let's see. Oh, it's like fucking chronological order. I don't know who these fuckers are. Chauncey Goodrich. Get out of here, Chauncey Good. Let's go to fucking now. Let's get with the times. George Stud. Honestly, I should make this. Oh, Bela Lugosi, the guy who played Dracula. It's still loading, guys. Have no fear. I'll go back the second it's done. You gotta fill time while the sim does its work. Oh my God, there's so many people. This is like, I should be on this list if there are this many fucking people. Howard Stern's agent, it looks like, was one of them. Tom Petty. Hey, he's not the only heartbreaker born on this day. Keith Hernandez. Danny Boyle, 28 days later guy. All right, we're back on the sim. We're back on the sim. I'm curious. Now we're finally getting to the modern times here. That's too many fucking people. that was like too many people that are supposed to be famous. I'm close enough. I've been in media. Maybe not for good stuff, but I've been in media. All right, top 150 lineups here. Your top ROI lineup right now, though, an Andy Dalton stack. So I think this is a credible approach. Again, find unique ways to attack Washington, Carolina. Fully on board with that. I'm going to go some Jaden side, but I'm going to do some different stuff with it. Andy Dalton is a different thing with it. We got Andy Dalton, Kyron Williams, James Cook, Stephon Diggs, Deontay Johnson, Jalen Coker making it in here. Remember, the stochastic sims do like Jalen Coker more than it seems like they should. David Njoku, Brock Bowers, Brown. So double tight end is on the menu once again here for stochastic. Number 2 ROI lineup is Kirk Cousins, Bijan Robinson, Brian Robinson Jr., Malik Neighbors, Darnell Mooney, Ray McLeod, Colby Parkinson, Travis Kelce Giants. So a Falcons +3 here with 2 tight ends once again. Your number 3 ROI lineup is Andy Dalton, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, Drake London, Deontay Johnson, Jalen Coker once again, Colby Parkinson, Brandon Ayuk, and Rams. So not 2 tight ends in that one. Number 4 is Andy Dalton. So wow, 3 of the top 5 are Andy Dalton lineups. Andy Dalton, Kyron, Aaron Jones, Deontay Johnson, Whittington, Coker, Kelce, Chuba, Rams. That's a Carolina triple if you're not keeping count. And then Kirk Cousins, Aaron Jones, Chuba Hubbard, Drake London, Brandon Ayuk, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts, Brock Bowers, and Raiders. So Cousins stacks, Andy Dalton stacks, your current top ROI ones overall. We will go QB by QB and review every top ROI lineup for all the QBs. Bela Lugosi consumed more morphine than another human being in human history. So, hey, that's something to be proud to share, I guess, with my birthday. Top ROI, guys, QB +1 stacks. Nobody has a positive ROI, but Geno Smith is the closest. Daniel Jones, him and Neighbors, if I had to guess, would carry that. QB +2. Deshaun, Sims agree. Look, I tell you what, I've said it enough times, Deshaun Watson sucks really bad at QB. He doesn't suck as bad as other QBs do, and people give them grace and don't bury them every week. So that's the one thing I'll say for Deshaun here. Cheaper targets going with him as well. Easy for the targets to pay off if Deshaun can be the barest minimum competent here. But high ROI for a QB +2 stack for Deshaun Watson. I imagine Judy and Njoku would be it. You could also maybe do Tillman and Njoku, but Njoku being a large part of those stacks, if I had to guess. Aiden O'Connell's your number 2 guy. Him and Bowers, him and Trey Tucker, we saw be pretty popular. Probably the most likely stacks there. And Andy Dalton, the QB +2, 1.5% ROI. Jaden Daniels just slightly negative. QBs +3, Stafford. So mega stacking Stafford is something that both the solver and stochastic seem to like. Stafford, 33% ROI on builds where you stacked up with 3 guys. Kirk Cousins, 27% ROI when stacked up with 3 guys as well. Andy Dalton, 24% ROI stacked up with 3 guys. And CJ Stroud, 3%. So these are your top ROI players. It does look like, again, the Sims like really pocket passers this week more, which is funny given that the chalk is Jaden Daniels. But they're pushing you more towards pocket passers, pushing you more towards alpha stacking. Still only slightly negative ROIs for Jaden in this spot with the QB +3. All right, exposures overall. Sims want you to get 61% Brock Bowers, which would be 3x the field's ownership. So the Sims agree Brock Bowers one of the best plays in the slate. As I've mentioned, Brock Bowers my favorite play. As you saw on Friday, draft him in a battle royale. I'll definitely have him in a lot of lineups today. I think he's worth trying to get away from the cheap chalk at tight end this week personally. Jordan Whittington, him filling in again for Cooper Kupp, looking like a pretty high exposure here. 50% compared to 17% ownership. Whittington on the year has sort of distanced himself from some of the other guys. 24.5% target per out run. Honestly, Tutu's at 24%. And Cooper Kupp's been at 40%, but obviously he's not in. I need to take Cooper Kupp out of this and just see where DeMarcus Robinson is. Cooper Kupp out. Yeah, DeMarcus Robinson only at 14%. So he's been really the one not getting targeted. And just for comparison, say Colby Parkinson getting targeted 22% target per outrun. So yeah, Whittington's viable. I feel like I've been sleeping on Whittington a little bit because his ownership's a little bit higher than it feels like it should be with kind of the lack of ceiling he's shown. And the low ADOT, 5.6 air yards per target is not the best for Whittington. Honestly, Tutu's role appeals to me more. I think Tutu as a play over Whittington would be pretty good. Taking a stand on Moore on day slate makes me sick with the game script and lack of value. Can't get away from that $3,200 price tag. Moore is like at best going to be a PPR scam for you. He's not going to have the biggest upside there. He's basically getting targeted really low ADOT. If I had to guess as well, you're going to see Tillman running outside and Moore staying in the slot. So it's not like the role should get better for Moore. I personally would not love that, but I get the price point. How much double tight end is coming up? I mean, I only know what I saw up top here, but more than you would think. A lot. I guess the best way to say it. Colby Parkinson, in terms of exposure here, 39% ROI compared to 16 or 22% ownership. So you're getting about 16% leverage on this one. Drake London, 38% exposure compared to 24% ownership. So they think he's a better play in the field. Brian Robinson, 37% exposure compared to 14% ownership. So you're getting almost 3x for Brian Robinson here. And Bijan, 37% compared to 21%. So higher ownership on Bijan, higher ownership on Aaron Jones, higher ownership on Kyron. So it seems like the stochastic sims really want you to make your RB pool centered around Brian Robinson, Bijan Robinson, Aaron Jones, and Kyron Williams because these guys are gobbling up pretty much all the exposure here at RB. David Njoku coming up 2x the field as well. Browns D coming up a lot. Browns D is not good, but Burrow drops back a lot, so this could hit. But that's a lot of ownership for a team that's certainly going the wrong way. Brandon Ayuk, almost 2x the field on him. Neighbors. All right, there we go. Let's go QB by QB here like we always do to try to close out this video. We got 20 minutes, so hopefully you can make some good time here before the 10 o'clock shows come on. And again, before we hit this home stretch, guys, please do subscribe, hit the like button, leave a comment. Your engagements go a long way for me. There's one man here trying to do the work, competing against legit companies, legit channels, people with producers and stuff. And I'm just one person here who just does the work, I think, better than most, and hopefully it helps you out. All right, let's go QB by QB here. We're going to skip the London slate, of course. First QB up, Joe Burrow. So Burrow, not a player I'm dying to get to necessarily, but we know the upside is there. We know, too, if he hits his ceiling, he's likely taking Jamar Chase, T. Higgins with him. If not one of those guys, then you add on your Eric Alls, you add on your Yoshifises, whatever you want to do. But Joe Burrow, not a lot of lineups in the top 150, but you do have one here with Burrow, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Jamar Chase, Drake London, Elijah Moore. So for the guy in the chat just talked about Elijah Moore, he's coming in here. Grant Calcaterra filling in for old Dallas Goedert. Brock Bowers, Raiders D. So double tight end once again. Again, Sim's going to push you towards double tight end a lot. I don't think it's a crazy thing today to not play double tight end, though. The field does play double tight end less than the data usually supports. So I think that's a personal choice thing to me. When I see double tight end come up a lot, I tend to go, yeah, put an RB or a wide receiver in there. Logically, though, people won't play as much. The Sims think they're a good play, and the Sims all seem to think, both the solver and stochastic seem to think that two tight ends is a good play today. Your second ROI lineup for Joe Burrow, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Jamar Chase, Diggs, Hopkins, Eric All, Colby Parkinson, Texans D. We got Burrow, Achane, Kareem Hunt, Chase, Higgins, Moore, Bowers, Zach Ertz, Dolphins D. So yeah, all double tight end. If you're playing Burrow, you're getting Chase and Higgins, maybe Eric All. It's basically it for Burrow stacks. Okay, don't mind Burrow stacks, but I don't expect Cleveland to do enough on their side. Deshaun Watson stacks. Nobody will play these, but three of them are in the top 150 ROI lineups right now. Deshaun with with Bijan Robinson, with Kareem Hunt, with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Brandon Ayuk, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, double tight end again with Raiders D. Deshaun with Kyron Williams, James Cook, Drake London, Tank Dell, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, and Bills D, double tight end again. Deshaun with Kyron, Josh Jacobs, Justin Jefferson, Jerry Jeudy, Jordan Whittington, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, and Browns D. Those are all the lines to make the top 150. So Deshaun might make it if you're playing Sims today. Thank you, Matt. Appreciate you as always here. Matt, always very kind on Twitter. Do you always appreciate that too? All right. CJ Stroud up next. And again, we're going order of the slate, guys. So if you're waiting for a QB stack, I'm going to get to it basically in the order the games are going off, according to my Vegas odds poll. Stroud, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell. So Houston double with, the tight end on top. Whittington, Dalton Schultz, Colby Parkinson, Rams. So 2 tight end again, including CJ Stroud in a triple stack. Stroud with Bijan, Brian Robinson. So both Robinsons here, both B. Robinson specifically. Stephon Diggs, Jerry Jeudy, Jordan Whittington, Brock Bowers, Colby Parkinson, Browns D. A skinny stack here with CJ Stroud in the top ROI lineups overall. Stroud, Chuba, Tony Pollard, Stephon Diggs, Tank Dell, Elijah Moore, Colby Parkinson, Brandon Ayuk, and Texans. So that's your first one without double tight end. But that one is just outside the top 150 ROI lineups for the slate. Same game, we got Jordan Love. My preferred stack partner for Love this week is Jaden Reed. We'll see what the Sims give us. They give us a triple here. Jordan Love, Josh Jacobs, Brian Robinson Jr., Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson, Darnell Mooney, Tucker Kraft, Grant Calcaterra, and Falcons. With second ROI lineup is Jordan Love, Chuba, Tony Pollard, Jaden Reed, Romeo Dobbs, Whittington, Kraft, Bowers, Titans. I don't know about playing Dobbs and Kraft. That feels a little thin to me, but if the game goes off, I guess that's how they hit. Jordan Love, Chuba, Tony Pollard, Jaden Reed, Tutu Atwell, Jordan Whittington, Tucker Kraft, Brock Bowers, Packers. These doubles with Rams and not the QB, I do not like those. But again, you're seeing double tight end for pretty much all of these as well. So people asking about double tight end, it does seem like the Sims want you to play double tight end, which we'll see how that means, what that means for the field, basically. Seattle up next. Geno Smith should be a very popular stack target today, we would think. Wow. So these lineups are all in the top 150. So honestly, man, playing Geno stacks, you're going to be competing against a lot of the sim shit. Oh, fuck off, Christopher. you could say that now you're a paying member. That's rude. I think it's pretty unequivocally agreed by the industry that I look much younger than my current age. I think, and I'll defend that as long as I can, especially though when I shave the sides of my head, because right now these fucking whites are really coming in a way that I don't appreciate. We got Geno here, your top ROI lineups. And again, there's a lot of them. Sim player is going to load up on Geno today, so keep that in mind. Sim player is going to get Geno in every possible configuration, so I really don't know that it benefits you to play Geno Smith a ton today, even though the Sims think he's one of the best players on the slate, clearly. But Geno, Bijan, James Cook, Drake London, DK Metcalf, Elijah Moore, Brock Bowers, Colby Parkinson, Bill, still double tight end. Geno, Brian Robinson, Pollard, Drake London, Metcalf, Coker, Brock Bowers, Kelsey, Raiders, still double tight end. Geno, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr., Neighbors, Lockett, Whittington, Bowers, Colby Parkinson, Giants, still double tight end. And we got some more spam. Get that out of here. But that's that. All right, so Seattle stacks, not sneaking up on anybody. Kirk Cousins. Thank you, Christopher. I appreciate that. Please feed my vanity. I don't have to put Vaseline on the lens like they used to do for Diane Sawyer in 2020. Make it look all blurry. That way you look better. Cousins stacks also going to be really well represented with the Sims. Holy shit. This is like 20 lineups that are all in the top 150. So your Geno and Cousins, man. Might be walking into a buzzsaw with that one. Cousins, Bijan, Brian Robinson Jr., Neighbors, Mooney, Ray, Colby Parkinson, Kelsey, Giants. The double tight end and Giants getting into everything is just where the slate loses me a little bit. But that's basically the one thing I'm really observing here. Double tight end is a lot this week. Cousins, Aaron Jones, Chuba, Drake London, Ayuk, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts, Bowers, Raiders. It's okay. Ray getting into everything I don't love. Kirk Cousins, Kyron, Bijan, or Brian Robinson, Drake London, Deontay, Ray McLeod, Kyle Pitts, Parkinson, Rams. So doing the triple here, you're getting the alpha guys, Drake London and Pitts. I like that. Ray McLeod on top feels okay, but if you're playing a tight end and Ray McLeod, I think that kind of defeats the purpose of that. Like Lockett more than JS Sunday, apparently cover 3 isn't his friend. I would caution against going too deep into specific, I know Fantasy Points Data does that and they do a good job with it, but sometimes you go too micro when you're worried about a specific kind of zone. Whereas to me, it's like you look at man stats, you look at zone stats to try to give yourself the biggest sample possible. So that's that. Double tight end was Tuttle's terrible take in the Swole cast. First look show crushed it apparently. Hey, good for them. That's Tuttle's not one of the guys I know very much of, but he does seem like he does good work. Anyway, Cousins and Geno stacks, I just have to say, it's a lot of them coming up the sim here. Basically 15 and 20 each in the top 150. So sim players will be getting a lot of that Atlanta-Seattle game, which is fine. I think trying to concentrate that and get one-off pieces could make more sense, but I certainly have no real issue against either Cousins or Geno. Your next potential chalk game, the slate, we got Jared Goff. Jared Goff here, top ROI lineups, only 2 in the top 150, so I think Goff more of a tournament play here. Goff, Bijan, Brian Robinson Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Whittington, Ray McLeod. I wish he would stop sneaking into everything. David Njoku, Brock Bowers, Browns D, double tight end coming again. Jared Goff, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jordan Whittington, Ray McLeod, Sam Laporta, David Njoku, Rams. So even if you're getting semi-elite tight ends, still getting doubles. Or this one has Goff, Bijan, Kareem Hunt, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Deontay Johnson, Whittington, Parkinson, Juju, Lions. Look, I don't love anything that fades Commanders on the slate. That lineup does make some amount of sense, though. Going to a lower-owned game in KC Niners, getting some of the good parts there. So you're getting some of the good parts of Minnesota, Detroit, and not really playing the Minnesota side, doing enough here. I don't know if you're getting the full benefit if you don't have a bring back in a Goff stack, but it's obviously fine. Sam Darnold stacks up next. And again, high implied total for Minnesota here, 26 implied points. I do think production concentrates with Aaron Jones and Justin Jefferson for what it's worth, but Jordan Addison is going to be probably underplayed. So Darnold stacks, I would get it if he went here. QB +2, though a lot of these guys, okay, so again, Darnold making a lot of lineups to the top 150 ROI, so he'll probably be played pretty well. Darnold, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr., Justin Jefferson, Addison. So you're getting the double stack, the premium double stack with Sam Darnold, Jordan Whittington, and Njoku, Parkinson, Browns D. I don't love double stacking against Detroit, but the total's high enough, so I get it. Detroit's defense is good enough. The biggest beneficiary, though, again, is Detroit plays man about half the time. Justin Jefferson kills man on the year, as many alpha receivers do. We talk about A.J. Brown versus man a lot here. But Jefferson, I think, is really the one here. If you're going to really try to target the one guy who should corner production for Minnesota, I do think it's Jefferson here. Not that it's a surprise, but I think he should be a priority play today. Your second ROI lineup is Darnold, Brian Robinson, Pollard, Jefferson, Addison again. So double stack once again. Juju, Bowers, Colby, Parkinson, Commanders. Number 3 is Darnold, Bijan, Pollard, Jefferson, Addison, Elijah Moore, Bowers, Whittington, Browns. So you got 2 of these having double tight end. One of them gets Whittington in instead. Sure. We got Tennessee. Oh, God. Mason. Who wants to see some Mason Rudolph stacks, guys? You do look at every QB. It's the job here. So none of these make the top 150 ROI lineup, so firmly a tournament play. Mason Rudolph, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Drake London, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Brock Bowers, DeAndre Hopkins, Commanders D. So you're trying to get the Commanders game scoring through the RB and the defense, which certainly makes sense. Mason Rudolph, Gibbs, Trace Sermon, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Drake London, DeAndre Hopkins, Bowers, Parkinson, Falcons. Tell you what, if they feed Ridley, Ridley's got a squeaky wheel going for sure. He's not making any of these lineups. Certainly not a good projection play, but I think Ridley still has enough upside. Mason Rudolph, Cook, Chuba, McLaurin, Hopkins, Whittington, Brock Bowers, Kelsey, Chiefs D. So you're getting basically all the good plays if you get in Mason Rudolph. None that makes you want to go to Mason Rudolph, but just out of curiosity, I'm going to look for Ridley in 1. We got Mason Rudolph, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Jefferson, Drake London, Ridley, Chig, Hopkins, Commanders. So a triple stack. You get your leverage on Pollard. I don't think a triple stack. I don't think a triple stack hits. But interesting plays with Mason Rudolph and nothing else. Titans owe you an apology for having to review Rudolph teams. I mean, honestly, I get it with Levis being what he is. It just like Levis is unequivocally done now, like for his career. Like I don't know how you dig out of this. But he's played poorly. I don't know. I don't think he's played so poorly. He's had a higher catchable ball rate than Mason Rudolph. So Mason Rudolph has not been great either. I will say Josh Allen stacks underplayed today. Don't love that price point. We know Josh Allen has the mid-30s fantasy ceiling because we've seen him hit it. It's not 40, but, it's good. Mid-30s would still be good for Josh Allen here. Our guy Brian might disagree from the chat before. But Buffalo here being under own, it's hard to stack up Josh Allen, but you can do single stacks for your top ROI, so I don't hate the concept here. None of the Josh Allen stacks are in the top 150. We got Josh Allen, Kyron Williams, Bijan Robinson, Deontay Johnson, Josh Downs, Elijah Moore, Dalton Kincaid, Colby Parkinson, Rams. It's tough. Kincaid seems like he's due to hit, but that team doesn't make me feel like it's worth it. Josh Allen, Kyron, Trace Sermon, Devontae Smith, Brandon Ayuk, Jalen Coker, Dalton Kincaid, Kyle Pitts, 49ers D. That's okay. Josh Allen, I feel like a triple would be it for me. We're like multiple guys have to hit for Allen to get there. Josh Allen, James Cook and Allen, I probably wouldn't play together. Aaron Jones, Darnell Mooney, Elijah Moore, Cooper, Kincaid, Kelsey Chiefs. Cooper Kincaid, kind of interesting. Cooper won't get played this week, but he could certainly smash. Historical Anomalies, I appreciate the super chat here. Happy birthday, Spags. Thank you for all your hard work. Buy yourself a beer. I do appreciate that. I will be having beers as soon as the slate starts today. Have no fear. But thank you, Historical Anomalies. One of my cherished regulars here, and it's always glad to have you on here, and I appreciate the kind words. Miami, we got Snoop Huntley. Yeah, we look at every lineup here because I'm a completionist. Tyler Huntley, Aaron Jones. So we actually have 4 in the top 150 ROI. So Huntley might be a good play because I don't think he's going to get shoved in a bunch. Huntley, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Neighbors, Tyreek, Whittington, Bowers, Parkinson, Dolphins. You're still getting the fucking double tight end, but you're getting a good stack, and Huntley seems due to hit. Matchup for him going against Indianapolis, one of the best in the league. So if you're going to play Huntley, this is a week to do it. I think I'll get to some Huntley today because these look pretty good. Huntley, Kyron, Bijan, Deontay, Jordan Whittington, Jalen Waddle, Parkinson, Ayuk, Dolphins. Probably wouldn't play Waddle. I think I would just give a shot to Huntley and Tyreek. I think that's low enough owned probably. But there you go. If you want to get even lesser owned, you go to Waddle instead of Tyreek. Huntley, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr., Amon-Ra St. Brown, Debo, Waddle, Calcaterra, Parkinson, Dolphins. There we go. Huntley, I think is sneaky. When you see like this amount of lads getting in the top 150 ROI, it's like, okay, this is a good sim play. The sims aren't forcing people to it too much. So it's kind of like we talk about with an optimizer, what the math drives people to. It is the same thing for the sims where people just get forced certain players because projections look good. They make sense in terms of stacks and how a sim treats simulations. So there's going to be a lot of Geno, a lot of Kirk. There's just enough Huntley here where it's like this guy might get under-owned and have tournament winning upside. So I think playing some Huntley would be a wise move this week. Our boy AR, how the mighty have fallen. AR, get in a lot more in the top 150, I would guess. AR, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Drake London, Josh Downs, Whittington, and Njoku, Brock Bowers, Vikings. This lineup works pretty well. AR, Bijan, Brian Robinson, Justin Jefferson, Downs, Elijah Moore, Bowers, Jordan Whittington, Browns. No double tight end. That's nice to see there. AR, Kyron, Chuba, Tank Dell, Josh Downs, Whittington, and Njoku, Bowers, Browns. Double tight end and Njoku and Browns D doesn't really do the most for me. But AR, valid play according to Sims. So if you want to play some AR this week, I think it makes sense. Jalen Hurts up next. We got Hurts, Bijan, Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown. Again, man defense matchup here. A little more man defense than average for the Giants, about a 30% rate, so should benefit A.J. Brown. He'd probably be the target I'd want to go with Hurts the most. But Hurts, Bijan, Aaron Jones, A.J. Brown, Josh Downs. Josh Downs sneaking in a lot. Rary McLeod, David Njoku, Colby Parkinson, and Rams. Hurts, beat Brian Robinson Jr., Pollard, Drake London, Devontae Smith, Elijah Moore, Brock Bowers, Parkinson, Commanders. And Hurts, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Diggs, Devontae, Whittington, Calcaterra, Parkinson, Commanders. I feel like A.J. Brown and Calcaterra this one. Hurts, Pollard, Hunt, A.J. Brown, Addison, Whittington, Calcaterra, Bowers, Vikings. Don't love the double tight end, but I do like A.J. Brown and Calcaterra if you're going to play Hurts. Playing that double stack, I think it makes sense. The issue is like, I think Saquon gets a touchdown today no matter what. I don't know if he gets multiple touchdowns, which is what he needs to pay off that price tag, but I think he does score one touchdown no matter what, rather. All right, Daniel Jones. Just blow my nose real fast. How I'm still snotty after being like a fucking month of being sick. Fucking toddler life. Not doing it for me this year once again. He's great, but the sickness part, Jesus Christ. Daniel Jones, Aaron Jones, Tony Pollard, Malik Neighbors, Deontay Johnson, Jordan Whittington, David Njoku, Brock Bowers, Vikings D, double tight end again. Man, double tight end. Just don't let a tight end in your flex. I think if you're going to handle the solver, especially, just you can make that a rule. Don't play tight end in the flex. I think it might be a thing to do, even though obviously them being in every lineup does mean that these guys are good plays. Daniel Jones, Kenneth Walker, Brian Robinson Jr., Malik Neighbors, Brandon Ayuk, DeAndre Hopkins, Brock Bowers, Parkinson, Giants D, Daniel Jones, Bijan, Aaron Jones, Malik Neighbors, Deontay, Rary McLeod, and Njoku, Bowers, Browns. I don't like these Daniel Jones lineup as much as I thought I would. I feel like I would like to see a bring back, but not Calcaterra. I like Jones Neighbors as a concept, but the lineups they're building around it, it's not my faves. Next game up, we got Carolina. Here we go. We got our marquee. I mean, we saw the Andy Dalton lineups before. You get the idea here. A lot of Andy Dalton coming up sim-wise. I would say he with Geno Smith and Kirk Cousins are going to be your sim QBs of the week. Dalton, Kyron, you read this one already. James Cook, Diggs, Deontay, Coker, Njoku, Bowers, Browns. Dalton, Kyron, Bijan, London, Deontay, Coker, Parkinson, Ayuk, Rams. Dalton, Kyron, Aaron Jones, Deontay, Whittington, Coker, Kelsey, Chuba, Rams. Well, number one, I'd say if you're going to play the Dalton stack, don't play Coker. You don't need to take that value there. I get why the Sims are putting him in, but every top ROI lineup is Coker in it. Like all of them. If you look here, he's getting into every single one. So if you're going to play a Dalton stack, please don't play Jalen Coker because you're probably walking into a trap. Jaden Daniels stacks. Here's our main event. How do we get unique on Jaden? Jaden double. Jaden, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr., Diggs, Whittington, DeMarcus Robinson, Schultz, Zach Ertz, Texans. So we're fading McLaurin, stacking Jaden up with Brian Robinson and Ertz. That's interesting. I don't love it, but it does make sense. I think McLaurin hits no matter what. But if he didn't, this would work. I think Noah Brown would be a better leverage play than Zach Ertz. Jaden, James Cook, Brian Robinson Jr., Ayuk, Addison, Noah Brown, Brock Bowers, Colby Parkinson, Bills. Again, no McLaurin coming in here, but you're getting a double. And it includes Noah Brown, so I think that leverage makes sense. Don't love the double tight end, though. Still think double tight end. I think just not doing that could be a smart thing to do on the slate. Jaden Daniels, James Cook, Aaron Jones, Drake London, Whittington, Juju, Brock Bowers, Zach Ertz, Bills. So double tight end again. Zach Ertz, single stacked up with Jaden. No McLaurin up top. Real fast, just going to add him in. And lineup contains the top ROI McLaurin lineup, QB +3. Jaden, Kyron, Brian Robinson Jr., McLaurin, Mooney, Whittington, Schultz, Ertz, Texans. You make that Noah Brown, I'd be more into it. All right, Vegas. But I would say if you're playing Jaden in a stack, his true ceiling has to come with McLaurin hitting, I think. Like it has to be with McLaurin putting up 150, Jaden runs for 100. The rest of the guys combined for another 100 like passing yards, maybe 150 if we get really lucky. I think Jaden, to me, has to have McLaurin with him for him to win this slate. But that's him. Anything can always win, as you guys know. Aiden O'Connell, Bijan, Brian Robinson Jr., Neighbors, Drake London, Whittington, and Njoku, Bowers, Giants. So single stack here with a bring back. We got Trey Tucker getting into this one. O'Connell, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Jefferson, Nate. Wow, you're getting all the dudes in here. Still hate the Parkinson Giants part, but you're getting a lot of guys in if you go with an O'Connell stack. Neighbors, Tucker, Bowers, Parkinson, Giants. O'Connell, Aaron Jones, Brian Robinson Jr., Drake London, Deontay, Tank Dell, Bowers, Parkinson, Texans. Finding an O'Connell lineup with Bowers and maybe Tucker as well, and just getting away from the double tight end build, I think would be pretty appealing. Stafford, we saw ETR likes. We'll look at him next. Matthew Stafford, Kyron, Josh Jacobs, Stephon Diggs, Debo, Whittington, and Njoku, Colby Parkinson, Browns. Again, you're getting a lot of these guys naturally, multiple Rams and lineups naturally, so just playing the QB does normally make sense. Hard to question, or like I would question the upside for the Rams overall in a pass game stack. But if it's got Kyron in it, that makes more sense. Stafford, Kyron, Bijan Robinson, Tank Dell, Mooney, Whittington, Bowers, Colby Parkinson, and Texans. Fucking Colby Parkinson gets in everywhere. Stafford, Kyron, Aaron Jones, the Neighbors, Drake London, Whittington, and Njoku, Parkinson, Giants. If you're going to play the Rams stack, Whittington and Parkinson, I don't know if it does a lot for you, but Sims seem to like it. These lineups aren't coming up a ton of the Sims, so it's playable. I think our last game here for the main slate, we got Mahomes here. All right, Brian, we'll see. We'll see. I appreciate it, Brian. I appreciate you taking it in good sport. But I will say, though, from my opinion, like, really think this is not the time to fade a game when you have a QB that has this amazing ceiling that we haven't yet seen, and also the highest total we've had all year. I think sometimes those things come together, and it's my birthday. So how could Jaden not have the game of games on my birthday? It's going to be really disappointing when, like, I play a lot of Jaden lineups, and he sucks. It's like the first time against a dog shit team on my birthday. But hey, I'm the guy in the USC shirt, so I'm no stranger to things outside my control, making me sad. Your Mahomes lineups here is not coming up a ton of the Sims, top 150, so I think he's a playable tournament option. Not that it's a surprise, but Patrick Mahomes, Bijan here, Chuba Hubbard, Jordan Addison, Whittington, Juju, Brock Bowers, Kelsey, Vikings. Going to be a lot of Juju and Kelsey if I had to guess. Mahomes, Kyron, Aaron Jones, Drake London, Ray, Juju, Parkinson, Travis Kelsey, Rams. Might be worth taking a shot at Xavier Worthy here if you're going to stack up the Chiefs. Mahomes, Kyron, Bijan, London, Whittington, Juju, Kelsey, Noah, Gray, Rams. I would not play two tight ends from the Chiefs. That seems fucking batshit. Would not want to do that one, even though Sims are the Sims, obviously. I would say if you're going to go Mahomes, and this won't perfectly correlate, but like Kareem Hunt, Mahomes, Kelsey, I think would be okay. That's the target, that's the concentration there. Like Kareem Hunt gets 20 touches a game. So that's how I would handle it personally. I don't think forcing in Noah Gray is really the move. Well, hey, you'll always have last year, Brian. You'll always have last year, but I get it. My team has not been good in like now fucking a decade and a half. So we're having a tough time with the USC alums. A lot of Brock Purdy in the top 150. So Purdy not going to sneak up in a sim situation either. Purdy, Bijan, Pollard, Debo, Ayuk, Ray, Njoku, Bowers, Browns, D, double tight end again. Purdy, Chuba, Brian Robinson Jr., Debo, Ayuk, Tutu, Njoku, Bowers. Play Kittle in your Purdy stacks. Purdy, Bijan, Brian Robinson Jr., Debo, Addison, Whittington, Colby Parkinson, Kittle, Vikings. Those are your teams, guys. That's every player on the slate. I hope that helps, but I really think there's an obvious trend here of double tight end that if you don't play double tight end, look, the data supports that being the best play in the slate, but you want to get unique today, I think just ruling out double tight end might be a wise move. But overall, look, guys, I've given you my takes here. I think it all comes down not to the man in the thumbnail. It all comes down to Jaden today. If Jaden hits, I think that's the game of games. I think that game, no matter what, puts up a lot of points. So even if you're not playing Jaden stacks, I would try to get pieces from that game because there's some games that I look at and I just know there's no way they fail. And this watch, of course, and I watch this fail. But like realistically, I really don't know, looking at the advanced analytics, how this one fails. And of course, if you look at my matchup sheet as well that you get when you're a paying member of the channel who joins down below for $4.99, you'll see the same things on there. It's just like the greenest matchup possible, one of the highest totals we've had all year. I think Carolina also pulls their weight a little bit more than people think too. So to me, that's the game, guys, and figure out shit around that. Everything else I expect to be a little bit less good, even though Minnesota, Detroit probably scares me the most. So that's it for this one, guys. Appreciate you being with me on this birthday journey here. Of course, please use the affiliate links in the description down below. Stochastic, 15% off. Check it out. Link in the description. That includes their data and their Sims tools. So get in there. If you can, pay for monthly packages because it supports the show more. Basically, you get, a longer run of payments from them if you do a monthly one. So check it out. Stochastic if you can. Solver, same thing. Link in the description down below. No savings on that one. Stochastic, get 15% off. Solver, you're paying full freight, but you do get to support the show with that. So please do it. Best Ball Overlay if you want to do that. bestballoverlay.com, promo code SPLASH. Fucking promo code SPLASH and underdog as well. $1,000 of bonus cash. For some reason, you watch only the DFS streams, weren't with me during basketball season. Go take advantage of that in underdog. Play some pick'ems on there. Play some basketball tournaments. Of course, the battle royales, 50K up top on those. Play that as well. And thank you all the fine folks who supported the channel. You too can do that by joining down below for $4.99. But please hit that like button before you go. Please subscribe and please gamble responsibly, even though it's always money time here. Thanks for hanging, guys. Appreciate you guys, especially the regulars, especially the super chats. Thank you for that as well. And hey, it was a fun birthday morning here. Let's go fucking win some money. If I can't run good on my birthday on a day where my favorite player, who I've been touting since January, is expected to go off, I don't know, man. I don't know where I'll ever find happiness. So today's my day. I hope it's your day as well. See you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. And of course, good luck. Bye-bye.